Hi. I always knew, deep down, I was going to create a classical music magazine. Affiliation with both the genre and a deep pool of knowledge I could draw upon. I wanted the magazine I created to have a bit of flair and modernity that is rarely witnessed by the other, more conventional classical music magazines, such as the popular BBC Music magazine, Classical Music, and Classical FM. All these magazines appeal to a specific target audience, but to my utmost surprise, the consumer is severely undernourished. This is why I set out to create my magazine. A magazine that keeps the well-loved conventions of my competition, but strives to be something greater, something more memorable and unique. My front cover, like other classical magazines, makes little attempt to entice consumers that would not be interested in the first place. My magazine possesses no bright, flashy buzzwords such as free or exclusive. Instead, I have elected for a subtle, sleek, minimalist approach, which, from a distance, appears to be just the feature musician's face, with a red transparency layer added for artistic effect. This is in line with the conventions of the other magazines, who generally present their feature artists in a similar way, that being an extreme close-up shot of the artist's face. Another aspect taken from my classical magazine is a strong brand identity. My title was designed with this in mind. The combination of both the calligraphic V and the bold, simplistic adjoining text
Created a visually interesting brand.
However, what makes this a memorable brand is the use of the V being placed in a white, slightly opaque circle. In time, this logo design for the title block would become a recognizable symbol of classical music, and would be the main selling point. This is my unique approach to the genre, to allow myself to modernize the classical music magazine. The convention for the design of the layout of my contents page. This was directly inspired by a fairly similar design in the BBC's own music magazine, but my contents page possesses a clear difference. If strayed from the conventional path, there is a clear divide between the two pages, with the left page containing a white background, which is in contrast to the aged parchment on the right page. This shows a subliminal clash between old and new, representing the mixture of respect for the past traditions and conventions juxtaposed to a modern, adjacent page. Another feature added to my contents page was the ever-popular editor's note. This allowed me to fill the right-hand side of my contents page with a visually engaging welcome. In this text, I, as the editor, lay out my magazine's mission statement. This is to be a professional, passionate, dedicated classical music magazine, as well as a slight pun in the form of a music note. There's also a central place reserved for the promotional material. The bold title naturally attracts the audience's eye, and with free iTunes download, it provides a sense of value in the magazine. I have also included the use of social media, again, following other magazines' attempts to branch out into other medias, such as including the information about the magazine, social network, and advertising the free Virtuoso app. This is in line with the popular BBC Music magazine, who has made similar attempts to not become irrelevant in a current climate, as more magazines attempt to find a new audience online by the means of tablets and smartphones. The contents page makes little attempt to stray from the established conventions. I use these conventions to deliver an expected but pleasing visual experience. This is achieved by having a high-angle image of my feature artist, which blends seamlessly with the black background. There's also other conventions used, such as the bold title in the top right-hand corner, and the out-of-context quote enticing the reader into reading the rest of the magazine. There's also clear indications where each of the questions are located, with the use of a consistent bright red.
Font.
The second page continues these conventions with a large imposing image of the central artist, with piercing blue eyes. The only challenge is the age of the central artist, which is several years younger than the traditional norm. This was also intentional, since I wished to target a more youthful demographic. This is also shown with the modern design flair, incorporated into the entire magazine. Other elements incorporated into the feature article that align themselves with the typical conventions of its competition. These include pull quotes, the use of a drop capital, the inclusion of a title, and directly below it, a stands first. This, along with page numbers and the use of columns, aligns themselves with the typical conventions.